Hey guys, I'm Charlie. I am a veterinarian and I wanted to tell you guys a few things that I wish that pet owners would know. It would make my life a lot easier as a vet. So the first thing that would be really great for people to know is that if you feed a bunch of treats to your dog, it does actually change the way their poo looks. The number of times I had people come in with a dog with a little bit of diarrhea or like a green poo or an orange poo, and when I do a bit of digging, I find out that their treats are like the same color. I can save you so much money, like a $200 emergency fee, just by telling you that it can literally change the color of your dog's poo. So definitely think about that. The only thing you should be careful of is if the poo is green and you have placed rat bait somewhere in your house, then you should definitely be careful and present to a vet clinic, because rat bait is usually green or blue. And if they eat enough of that, that can change the color of the poo. But you'll normally see other symptoms as well as that. What else would I like you guys to know? Oh, one thing that comes up a lot. So when I was a beginner veterinarian, I felt like I had to give a sedative to animals before I euthanized them, because in my head I thought, it's going to be really scary going through that, and I would want to feel really mellow and chill before I'm given any medication. But what I found out over time from being a vet is that the drug that you give in order to euthanize them is actually just a very strong anesthetic in and of itself. So you're doing the same thing and you're increasing the time that they're feeling weird with drugs or whatever. I ended up reaching a point where I decided that I didn't want to give them that little previous sedative, because it doesn't change anything for them. If anything, if it's an animal that I would see an emergency, it's just prolonging their suffering while you wait for it to kick in. So it's very okay to just give a euthanasia drug. It makes it a lot quicker. Something else that we vets would love for you to know is that chocolate in a tiny little bit is actually not necessarily bad for your dog. It depends on what type of chocolate it is, and it depends how much. And the fun thing is there is a chocolate calculator online that you can go to that works out whether your dog has eaten a toxic amount. I would say almost every single shift I ever had, someone came in with a dog that had eaten chocolate. And I would say of those times, probably 70% of them didn't need to be made to vomit. They had no symptoms, and they could have saved themselves a vet visit just by going to a website to check before coming into a clinic. The darker the chocolate, the more dangerous it's going to be. But I've definitely seen dogs that ate a little bit of dark chocolate and it wasn't a problem. The way that chocolate kind of affects dogs is it has a compound called theobromine in it, and that affects their cardiovascular system and makes their heart race and makes them really hyperactive, and the sugar doesn't help, and so it stresses the heart out. But they do have to eat a certain amount in order to become toxic. It's the same with most things that are a toxin for dogs. Like, for example, I've only ever seen an onion toxicity once in my life, and it was a dog that ate a whole bag of cooked onions. That one became ill. But if a dog eats like a tiny little piece of onion and a bit of spaghetti bolognese, that's not actually going to hurt the animal. So it's not to say that you shouldn't present to a clinic if your dog eats something toxic, but what I would say is have a look online for a veterinary-based website that talks about how much is a toxic amount before you present, or just call a clinic so they can tell you whether you need to come in or not. And that will save your vet so much time. There's a lot of money wasted by owners in that alone. The last thing that I probably would want to tell you as a pet owner coming from a vet is coming from a place where, like, veterinarians definitely aren't necessarily treated the best by owners. We definitely have people that appreciate us, but there are a lot of people who in an emergency get angry or become rude or yell at us. I've been in situations where we've had to call the police because people have been so aggressive, and it's not necessary. As veterinarians, we're here to save your animals and to do our best. We're also very exhausted, so if we are blunt with people, it's not necessarily the fault of the owner. We might just have 30 patients that are critically ill out the back, and you've come in for a broken toenail. So you definitely need to have some patience with us. And the thing to remember, I think, when you're judging vets for the way that they are working or for how busy they are, like, animals can't talk to us. I think it's really easy to look at our human experience with doctors and think that we should just know all the answers, but a human doctor can talk to their patient and say, hey, like, what are you feeling today? Are you nauseous or whatever? And animals don't give us the same amount of information. And so we have to work out what is going on with animals just by virtue of what their bodies are showing us. And because of that, sometimes vets can be wrong. And so I think that if people keep that in the back of their head as they're getting their animals seen to, I think that that would help to alleviate a lot of the stress from vets, as well as alleviate stress with owners. Oh, hi, you decided to join me. Well, on that note, Payson says goodbye.